The International Center for Black Sea is an independent research and training institution focusing on the wider Black Sea area. It was founded in 1998 as a non-profit organization. It institutes a related body of the organization, the Black Sea Cooperation, BICE, and our basis is in Istanbul. We are a related body in the BICE as the Black Sea Trade Bank that there is in Thessaloniki, and also with the Business Council, that is an organization for the business in the Black Sea area, and the Business Council is, the offices is in Istanbul. ICBSS is the leader in the Troika group. That means that we have the responsibility to talk with the European Union in Brussels for Black Sea priorities, and we have a EU committee that maybe if we have this event, I can invite some of you, like observers, just to participate and hear about how the Black Sea countries in the European Union negotiate in this field of priorities. It's really difficult, I'd like to say that, because these countries have some other cultural, some other priorities maybe instead of European Union, but it's really interesting for students to participate and have this communication with all these people.
Now there are three fundamentals, three business fundamentals which I have come to know. And that is, they're about costs of business. Any business is about costs, sales, and service. So whatever you do, whatever activity you're engaged in, about 90% or more of whatever it is you do is going to fall under these three fundamentals. And of course, that's what drives profit. Because that is the ultimate objective is to maximize profits. Even in theory, when you say theory, a lot of the theories have been developed or have come about through experience. You know, Edison with the light bulb, the various inventions, the internet, for instance, and in any sphere you could mention, you have people who experimented or learned something through experience, and then of course they developed the theories. It was a very general statement. So the only reason I mention it here is because you shouldn't get hung up. Don't get hung up on this theory thing. And again, students have a tendency of doing that, sometimes at the expense of acquiring very fundamental and key knowledge.
But then I went into real business, and I found out that you know, an organization is a creative chaos in constant flux, and it's none of, or it is, I would say, everything of these theories, a bit of everything, and not enough of anything. So a more pertinent question is, why is it that firms based in a particular area, a state, a nation, a region, are able to create and sustain a competitive advantage in a particular field? To start with, there is a more clear answer to this question. It is because some nations or regions have understood that gains in world-class competitiveness require commitment and investment in a wide range of factors. All these factors that impact the ability of an economy to participate in world income distribution. These factors are education, ethics, organization, public administration, transparency, overall government efficiency, infrastructure, taxation, the rule of law, the state's relations with its citizens, corporate governance, to name but a few.
scrap that and move on with my definitions. Barter, the simplest form of trade. The buyer has fares. The supplier has hand mirrors. So the two of them get together, they arrange a transaction, an exchange value, so many fares for one hand mirror, and then the two of them conclude the transaction. The simplest form of trade. In counter trade, things are getting a little bit more complex. There are third parties involved. In this case, there is a currency value allocated to the transaction. So the buyer has bananas. The supplier has tractor equipment. Instead of the supplier getting tons of bananas for its tractor, they will get to a third party. This party will take care of the sale of the bananas, put some and compensate the supplier accordingly. In that case, the third party is called a broker. Sometimes an honest one, sometimes a dishonest one, but still a broker. Offset, well, this is as far complicated as it gets. Again, we have the basic transaction, but in this time, the third parties can get directly with transactions with the supplier. In most cases, having nothing to do with the original transaction between the bananas and the tractors. You will go through that later on, but basically the idea is that the buying party, in most cases a government, will involve purchases of other equipment from their own country as a concession with regards to completing the transaction.
This is really amazing being here. I love it. Talking to a group of people like you is just great. It's really what gives me a huge kick. Over the past few months, I guess I've become Mr. Yinet. The reason it all started with this speech I gave at Google when I said that the most common word in the Greek language is the one that starts with an M. The second most common one is then Yinet, and sometimes we use them together. We say then Yinet malaka. And then I kind of reminded people that Piros Dimas did not say then Yinet. The football team in 2004 didn't say then Yinet. And when you guys go in to write your exams, you know they say then Yinet. Some of you might. And when they built the Acropolis, they certainly did not say they Yinet because Yinet. And we've got to make it happen. Okay? Disruption. Disruption is when all of a sudden lazy organizations have a need to become learning organizations. Okay? Because most of the time we coast along. Everything's okay. No problem. The other popular thing in Greece, right? No problem. Well, when there's a disruption, you've got a huge problem. You have to deal with it. You have to create your way out of that place. You've got to think. You can't just do your way out. You've got to create a way out because you've been disrupted. And under those circumstances, learning is not compulsory, but nor is survival. So if you want to survive, you've got to learn fast. You've got to create fast.
What is innovation? Innovation is change. Very rarely disruptive. iPod is a disruptive innovation. The PC was a disruptive innovation. The Walkman was a disruptive innovation. Nobody had expected this product to be delivered. But most frequently, 95% of the innovation that takes place every day all over the world is evolutionary innovation, meaning there is an incremental improvement on what we currently have. It is a creative destruction process, meaning that with any innovation, something else is being modified or distracted. A product is going out of the market and a new product is coming in. And very often is born out of necessity. when you're with the back on the wall, you are really forced to become innovative. It's a very natural human process, and it's good for good and bad purposes. You know, defense industry is full of innovation, obviously for bad purposes, for wars and so on. It can be a new electronic gadget, can be a new tactic in a football team. Is anybody here who has seen Barca playing football?
Yeah.
Many. Now, is it easy to innovate this tactic? No. Why it is not easy? Because it's a result of the mental state. And it's the result of a very persistent and hard work. That's why it is extremely difficult to imitate and to copy the tactic of Barca. It's an extreme innovation in my understanding. It can be new customer services. So let's take the Aegean examples. We've been rolling out a lot of electronic services in the past 2-3 years. Recently, the mobile check-in. This is a typical new service, evolutionary innovation, nothing really spectacular. So this is innovation in general terms. And let's keep in mind, innovation is change. Innovation is change, and it is a creative destruction process.
Our shareholder structure is 55% is coming from the Greek state, and 45% is coming from the private sector. Now the key in this unique structure is that the public sector, thank God, is not part of the management, right? Just receiving the 55% of the revenues and the dividend, and we are very, very happy. Out of this 11 years, starting from 2001, which we started to operate, till today, we give back to the Greek state 675 million euros worth of tax and dividend. Now you can imagine if this case could be followed, in other sectors of the industry, how different will be today the economy. Just imagine, right? For us, for the passengers, time is money, right? Delays causes another series of cost implication for the line. For us, if we have connected flights to other destinations, etc., etc. So try to minimize for the common being and the common wealth. Okay, this is very, very important.
What I want to stress in this little slide here is that the first stages were during the internet boom. And things are easy when you're operating at a boom. But then the tech bubble burst, and I'm talking globally. And we had a huge economic downturn, again globally, and that was a decade ago. So things are cyclical, as we said earlier. Notice that this company managed to secure significant funds during the recession, and that is key. In closing, believe in your idea, but always have a B plan, and that's important because you need to know what's the worst case scenario. What you expect to happen won't, and what you don't expect to happen will. And it's not just Murphy's Law. Listen to smart feedback. If you ask 5 people their opinion, you're going to receive 6 opinions. So I'm not saying listen to every feedback, but pass it through your little prism and decide what's best for you personally and professionally. Find multiple revenue sources. There's a lot of people say, oh, okay, I have an internet, it's fantastic. Advertising, okay, it's not enough. You need to find ways to milk the cow, in a sense, to give the business plan the oomph it needs to make it interesting for investors. Remember that being an entrepreneur is very stressful and requires a strong stomach. It is fulfilling. It gives you the chance to change the world in a bit. It gives you skills that will take you to the rest of your life. But it's also a marathon, not a sprint. And you have to have the buy-in of the people around you. They need to realize, they need to be patient with you, that you're going to miss Sundays, that you're going to miss Saturday nights because you're working and you're committed to what you do. Just try. Nothing is possible or impossible until you try it. Thank you very much.